What's going on, guys? Marcin here. It's Thursday, January 22nd. And before I start with the content, I got to say one thing. So, for those of you that are native YouTube viewers, last week we had a hiccup, and I don't know what's going on. Last week it was YouTube. Did not work. Although it was intermittent. I think they went down for a little bit, and then it was fine because I ran a bunch of tests, and it was okay. Facebook was still good. With that being said, I guess what I'm trying to say is that whenever you hit a wall with YouTube or Facebook, you can always switch platforms and just join me in the live on one of the platforms. Why join live? It's entirely up to you guys. It's just an opportunity to ask questions. So when I'm going through my stuff and somebody has a question pertaining to kind of what I'm covering, you can just throw in a question. I try to monitor them here on the side, and if there's anything, I can always use your question as a sort of guide to where we're going. If you don't know me, if you're maybe the first time you're stumbling over this content, I'm Marcin. I have done photography for the last 17 years, and it just took me to places that I never believed I should be. It's kind of funny because it just started as this side hustle, doing money on the side, and it quickly, just because of like weird opportunities, working with friends, working with people you work with, family, friends, relatives, you just build like this network connection of people, and it takes you into places like you would normally probably not gonna. You probably would not be in those situations if it wasn't for photography. So it's actually kind of cool. What I do here every Thursday, I take one of the golden BBs, because there's no one silver bullet to like build the photography business. There's a bunch of little things you have to do, and that's exactly what I'm discussing every week. I take I take a pin, I throw it on the map, and it's like, okay, here we're focusing on content, or we're focusing on camera, or we're focusing on editing. A lot of what I talked about is automation and AI and how to sort of enhance that process, because most of us, to be honest, and this is where I come from the environment where like we think of business, like photography business, as photography only. And it's not. It's like, unless you were, I don't know, you had experience with business previously, unless you maybe went to business school and you kind of know what the other half of the pizza pie. Normally there's just a bunch of things you're not aware of, and those are things that I'm trying to like highlight here in those lives, because there's just a bunch of things you got to take care of that are simply unknown. So it's like, there are things that we know exist, but we just don't know how to do them. But like, there are things that you don't know exist, and that's really what gets you in this business. So for me, it took me very, very long time, couple of years, to like piece the puzzle together and like get all the pieces laid out. Here's like, it was just, I at one point it felt like drinking from a hydrant, because it's like, and like a little bit of technical stuff, and a little bit of business stuff, and a little bit of pricing, and a little bit of persuasion, and a little bit of selling. And it's like, it's a good combo that you have to master, right? And it takes time. You're not expected. I'll give you the green light, the permission, right? It's like, at the beginning, you don't have to know it all. Obviously, everybody starts on level 1 of the ladder. But the quicker you're aware of what you have to tackle, and most importantly, like which order, is very, very important. I always advise people. It's like, you can read about it. You can spend a lot of time on YouTube. It's going to take a lot of time. If you can, hire a coach. I work with a bunch of people that like, we do an assessment, literally an online assessment, and they go through and just fill out the questions, and then we just focus on like, okay, seems like you have this down and this down and this down. Let's focus on this and this, because this will move the needle the fastest, right? So I always say, grab somebody that knows. It could be somebody in your environment, maybe another photographer that you can like second shoot for, or whatever. With that being said, if you're on YouTube, there's actually an episode that's really popular on second shooting, so you may want to check this out. But it's basically, that's what I do. I just share everything that I know here on both platforms. So I encourage you. You can check out the group. You can check out the YouTube channel. If you don't know where to look, let me see if I can throw something on the screen for you guys. there should be this QR code. You can just scan it, and it will get you, like, it will show you, including my DM. Like, if you have any questions and you want to just quickly send me a message, you can, by all means, you can definitely do it. I'm there for you to answer the questions. And then this is probably better link, proimageacademy.com, brand new community that I'm setting everything up. And those lives, eventually everything will be moving into the community. First 100 members, no paywall. You can just get in there, reserve your spot, and I will be kind of laying everything out in the right order. Because if you're on YouTube, you're kind of watching videos, but it doesn't really kind of, you can't. It takes a while to connect all the dots. Sometimes a year, sometimes two. With this, my hope is that I can kind of align it for you guys so that you can kind of tackle it. First, how do I get to money first? How do I make my first 1,000? And then we can take it from there and figure out, like, what's the best path and a plan for you. So that's really it. Today is kind of a weird session, to be honest, but I figured last two sessions were really about branding, because a lot of people don't know what, like, content strategy is. How do I, like, batch my content? How do I program ChatGPT to sound like me, right? So there's just a bunch of things that, like, how do I utilize ChatGPT to run some automations for me? So I'm not the one, like, running the content and posting every day, because it's exhausting, right? So, and we hear a lot of, like, messages that sort of collide. Some people say don't post frequently, other people say post 3 times a day, and it's like, once you get the system down, because that's all you're really missing. You're missing the system, the business system behind the art and the photography that runs stuff for you automatically. Then you can actually enjoy it. Otherwise, it just, it's not an easy battle, right? But again, I'm here to answer any questions. If you have anything, you can throw it in the chat, and I'll answer it. I'll come back later and answer your question when I see it. Today, I said it's kind of a weird one, and it's kind of a weird one because I figured one thing that's missing. There's a couple, like, little components that I can pull from different, like, business books, where we are basically talking about establishing an authority and just kind of being yourself in the process, right? Because a lot of us deal with this. Not only we deal with this sort of like a mindset thing of, like, imposter syndrome, like, I have to copy somebody, or, like, I have to do something a certain way, or I saw this photographer doing it this way and I have to replicate it. And so we're kind of stuck in that phase for a while. And very often we don't have the confidence to kind of speak, the conviction. A lot of times clients can say, like, can tell. But the thing is, the really nice thing is that if you just open up and if you're honest about where you are in the process, it gets really easy because the conviction comes with it. Because at the very beginning, I remember when I was, like, dealing with the first client, I said, I'm just starting. I haven't shot a wedding. I can do it for free. Here is a sample of my work that I did with other people, little portraits, little birthday parties, little whatever. And, like, check it out. If this works for you and you're okay with me probably messing up something, I'll do it for free. And I did it. And I got to tell you, my original plan was to do, like, I think was like, I'll do like 5 for free. And I did the first one. I'm like, I really need only like one more, or maybe 2 more. And I think I ended up doing 2 for free, and the rest was paid, and aggressively priced higher and higher and higher. And it's because, like, when you take photos from literally like 2 different events, you have a variety of photos, and sometimes when you're shooting details, other clients, when they come in, they can't tell whether it's from one wedding or 7 different weddings, right? Like, when you do a combo of people dancing and some details and maybe some, like, a church shot or preparation shot, like, they can't link it in their head that it's from one event. So literally after 2 events, you're good to go, because the gallery is built out enough to then take a client and start charging 15, 18, or 2,500 or 3,500. So this is what I wanted to talk to you today about, which is, like, little pieces that help you build authority the fastest. So when you get to sit down with your first client, or if you're maybe posting content online, you'll know, like, here's my my tool belt, and here are the tools available to me. Here's what I'm going to use at the beginning, because this way you're going to get moving much faster. So I always have slideshow. Let me just switch over. I got to set myself up here. with a different interface to switch screens because I have a slideshow for you guys as always. Well, not always, but most of the time I have one. Let me see if we can switch over here. And really enough, you're gonna see my face. And why are you seeing my face? Is because it's all about you. It's all about you just feeling confident. The confidence comes from, that's the first thing I have to say. The confidence really comes from competence, and competence comes from doing. So it's like a lot of people wait to be ready and like confident, and like you're not going to be confident because you don't have the competence because you haven't done it yet. So like it will be kind of shaky. You will be nervous. That's obvious, right? And nervous is a good sign because that means you care. I would be traumatized to hear that like you're super calm and you don't really care. So it's important to know that you are going to be nervous. After 17 years of doing this, when I'm going to a wedding, I'm still nervous. I just did an interview with Jake Casario, one of the like top guys, and he says still, even today, after years of doing it, like he gets the butterflies and the anxiety, and it's just we were both laughing about it because it's true. But the thing is, it's about you. It's about being open and honest with clients, and you don't have to be afraid because every position you're in, whether you're at the beginning or at the top, has advantages, right? Everybody can argue that the guy at the beginning with little weddings will just focus on this one wedding and like put all the work into this one wedding. This is the guy at the top, like he's not gonna care because he has photographers that he hires. He's not even shooting himself. But then the guy at the top says, "I've done it for such a long time, and that's why my prices are what they are." So it's like you can argue both ways. I always say it. You have to look at where you are, not where somebody else is, because we very often compare, and it's like, oh, but I'm so like I'm just behind, and my work is not there, and my website is not there, and it's your messaging is not there. It's okay. We just got to get going. We just got to get started, right? So even if we take the first event, it will not be perfect, and it's okay. And then we just take another one, and we improve and improve and improve. We take a website at the beginning; it's a shitty website, or maybe not everything is there, but it's like we're gonna take it, we're gonna put it out there for people to see, imagine like a sign, almost like a writing on a piece of paper. I do photography, and we're gonna put it out there, and then we're going to improve it. We're going to make it better and then bigger and brighter and whatever. So like that's what we're doing with the website. That's what we're doing with content. This is what we're doing with messaging. Even me, when I was doing I started doing lives, I was petrified to like hit live, and now I'm live on Facebook and YouTube, like, oh my God. And guess what? I didn't melt. Like I just, over time, because I've been doing this for almost, I don't know how long, almost a year, 10 months, close to that. It's like, you just get better. You find your voice. You kind of care less because you've, again, confidence comes from competence, because I've done it enough times where it's like, I kind of, it's like a second nature. I can just come here, show up, and whatever. It's like the same thing. You go, you talk to clients, you show them your stuff, and if they don't like it, nothing happens. You don't melt, you don't disappear. You move on to the next client. It's all numbers game, right? With clients, leads, bringing them to your meetings, and then what we call converting them, meaning they buy from us. So it's all numbers game. Back to the slide. It's finding your voice, being yourself. Let me see if I can I operate slides? I just said I know what I'm doing. So let's just make sure I do know what I'm doing. All right. So your brand isn't your preset, it's your conviction. And again, this is kind of a reference of like, there is no like form that you have to fit through. It's really about you guys, how you feel, your style, how you feel about things, how you feel about doing things, the style that you're going to develop over the years, right? Over months and years. So it's really about you. The next one here is, and this is, by the way, how it works if you're reviewing for the first time. I go through the slide and then I add some extra juice. So why professional makes you invisible? What clients actually buy is clarity about who you are. They want to know. Like a lot of times you'll hear a lot of marketers or people that are in business for a while, they're like, you got to talk about yourself a little bit. Like, who are you? Like, what's your identity? Because that's how clients connect. Are you a single mom? Do you live in Florida? What school you went through? Where are you from? How old are you? Right? So like, that's how clients connect. They care who, like, legitimately, like who you, why are you even doing this? Right? So confidence in your vision. And like I said, the confidence in the vision is a big word, right? Like a fluffy word, but it's like, you just have to come up with a plan. Like, here's what we're gonna do, here's what I'm doing, here's why I'm doing this. And clients buy that stuff because they see your conviction, they see that you're committing to this assignment, even if you're at the very beginning. And then connection to your approach. This is when you talk about your likes and dislikes. A lot of times when people, again, like another big word, like style. What is style? I never understood it. I got to tell you, I struggled with it for about like 4 years because I'm like, am I this style or am I that style? And in the end, what you find out is over time you just take more photos and more photos and more photos, and over this time you're gonna like have your list of keepers almost, right? Like mental keepers. I gotta do this shot, I gotta do this shot, I gotta do this shot. And then as you process images, right, you also edit, you add your presets, you do whatever. And then after you process them, you see the reactions from your clients, right? So over time you develop the style, you develop the collection of photos that work, whether they work because you shoot them on the spot or the way that they're processed, clients are resonating, because it's not really about you. A lot of times, I always love to bring that idea back, is it's not it's not even about you, which is kind of weirdly enough, it's not really about you and your judgment. It's really about what the clients like. Because what if you love black and white photos, and your clients all come and they're like, it's fine, but like we would prefer color. I mean, you can get stuck and you can say, I'm just offering black and whites, and you can actually wait. It's totally fair. You can totally wait until a client shows up that likes black and whites, right? But if you're in, but the question, fair question to ask is like, are you having the business to kind of polish your ego, and or maybe this is something that you love and like that's what you want to pursue? Totally fine. Just keep doing black and whites. If on the other hand, the question we ask is like, okay, what are we solving for? Are we solving for money? Then you have to resonate with your client, right? And just and you have to adopt it. A lot of times, like I said, we photographers, all business owners struggle with that. It's like, well, this, but here's what I want to sell. And it's like, it doesn't matter what you want to sell. I mean, yes, you're selling photography, but your market will kind of mold you and show you what they resonate with. But with that being said, I never did what my clients asked me to do. I just kind of, there's plenty of people because I kind of raised the flag. Now you guys are probably petrified, like, oh, nobody's gonna like it. No, there's actually a nice thing that I have to say here is that you are underestimating. I can tell you right now, you're underestimating how many people are out there. That's why, because we're always like, oh my god, a competition. There's another guy doing photography. It's like, how many gas stations you have, right? Don't worry about it. There's like every gas station gets traffic, and every photographer gets clients, right? Like they will be attracted. You just have to do enough work to stay in front of them. So that's it. You're gonna find your people. You're gonna have to mold your style a little bit just to see what they resonate with, and you will definitely find it in the end. And you're gonna get your confidence because you'll see, like, after first, second, fourth, fifth, 10th, 20th client, you will definitely get your mojo, your confidence back. What doesn't matter? Sounding professional, being being liked by everyone. Oh, that's the worst. And then chasing perfection. So we have to get going. Do something. Start building the website. Don't plan on building the website. Just start working on the website, right? Like you have to have something in place. If somebody's going to approach you at the store, at the gas station, anywhere, at your workplace, like, oh, you do photos? What's your website, right? Like, hey, here's the link, right? This is you waiting for this perfect website that clients never get to see. So it doesn't matter. Sounding professional, again, a lot of times we try to like look at other people because we're comparing. That's how we're learning, right? Natively as human beings. And we look at other photographers and we try to sound like this photographer that's on level 34, but it's like, but you're on level 2 or 3, or 12. And it's like, don't pretend to be anybody else. Just tell them how it is, how you feel. And you'll be fine. And I just give you an example here. Let me bring the screen back. So I was just talking about what doesn't matter. And then I shoot bold color because that's what survives time. This is brand voice itself. And I use it just because you can totally copy it. But the thing is, I at one point found a couple of photographers, and I really enjoyed their work. And they were like, I saw a group of photographers. They were doing different things. Like some people were doing a lot of black and whites. I like black and whites, but I'm not like a. That's not the style, for all the photos that I deliver to my client. Then there could be like a black and white, but with like a color cast or something, making it kind of like a rustic feel. They didn't dig it. They didn't like it. So for me, it was like, no, I like color. I actually like when the colors are like vibrant and images are like brighter, and that's just what appeals to me. I had friend photographers that were shooting more of a darker photography. But it's like music. I enjoy listening to something else, and they enjoy listening to something else. It's like, it's a simple preference. It's a taste, right? So it's like, never be in a position to judge. It's more of like, how in high school you have like different, my daughter's in high school, so that's how I know. But like, there are different, groups. They're jockeys. They're they're the cheerleaders, the sports guys. There's the what's the goth style. There's like a bunch of different groups of kids. And the same thing with photography. It's like, you'll probably fit close to like one genre. Maybe color is your thing. Maybe black and white is your thing. Maybe selective color, black and white with some color selection is your thing. Like for me, when clients would come in showing me examples that would typically not be in my portfolio, I would just say no. I say, that's not what I do. That's not how I serve my clients. I want you guys to be very happy with the results. Here's a list of photographers that I know that are doing exactly what you're looking for. And guess what? Sometimes they would step away, come back, or send a client because it's like, you were just honest. You just recommended somebody, and like, even if I'm sure they have friends that are not going to dig the other photographer style, but they will come back to you. It happened over and over and over again. So be okay with who you are and what your choices are. Next thing is permission to own your style. This is kind of a repeat, but I'll just go through a couple examples here. So bold color, vivid, saturated, unforgettable. Like those images are like, I think they're easier just because this is my personal opinion. This is not truth. So the thing is, I think they just stand a test of time. And I always use like black and white and like selective color thing, because it's like, there was like a period where this was super popular, and then it sort of went away. And I know there are people that are still using it, especially those that are like jumping in the world of like Photoshop or whatever you guys are experimenting, and it looks cool, and I totally get it. And we all go through different phases until we kind of arrived at the at the station. So it's like I said, this is just one example. Off-camera flash, you're going to see a bunch of photographers. I just did an interview with Ron Lemelin, and he's big on off-camera lighting. Like, I do off-camera lighting, but it's not my signature style. It's not why clients come to me. So like, you can exercise different styles. You can experiment. You can try different things. I mean, that's the name of the game, because that's how you build your style, by trying different things. But it's not my signature style. But there's a lot of photographers that just do off-camera flash, and they present their photography is more like intentional and editorial style and more dramatic. So that's another example. Another one is documentary. Which where the photography is really like, it's not posed, it's really authentic, and it's very very real. The next one here is emotion first. So there's like a group of photographers that don't like, there's constantly a battle between like, should the photography be technically okay, or should it show more emotion? And I think it's not a black and white. It's not a binary yes, no. It's more of a dichotomy. Like, how far do you want to push it emotionally? How far do you want to push it technically? And to be honest, depending on where you are in your journey, the better you're going to become with photography eventually. If you want to be charging, let's say 10, 12,000, 16, 20,000 per event, which is absolutely possible, then you have to start merging those two, because your clients, the high-end clients, will expect you to not only be technically correct, but also show emotions. That's why the big guys charge big bucks. So so that's just another example there. You don't need a new style, you need commitment to yours. Just spend more time at what you do, and I promise you that you will arrive at the point where you're going to look at your work. And it depends on how often you're shooting, because it's about iterations, not time. So if you enough of them, 10, 15, 20, you're going to sit down one evening and be like, I like what I see, because you're going to keep updating, images on your website, and one day it'll click. You'll be like, this is it. Like, this is where I'm staying. I'm going to keep experimenting. And it really depends. If you have different shoots, you can try different things, but the style will eventually click. The other thing also that you have to keep in mind when clients come to you is this idea of presenting a new opportunity. And it's not really new, because you are selling services, photography services. But can you tell sort of like a story behind it of how you're seeing it? It's kind of hard to explain, but I will attempt anyway. So stop selling coverage like hours and deliverables and packages, because what's going to happen is, if you present your services this way, you will be treated as a commodity. They will go to another photographer, hear the same thing. How many hours? What is the package? What are the deliverables? How many do we get? Do we get more photos for the same price? And you're now attracting the wrong client. So it's very important to sell the client on the story and the why, because it's easier for them later on to link. And I'll get into details. But the other thing that I wanted to show you here is that you have to start selling the transformation for feel the day again in 10 years. So you have to position your work as a different path, not a cheaper option. So if they look at packages, hours, number of files, they're always going to follow the price. But if you tell them, listen, the way I do it is, it's maybe a composite, like in our case, you're gonna not only going to get an album, you're going to have a canvas that's included. During the way that your wedding day, we're going to do like a quick slideshow presentation that will show your guests. They will be able to relive what happened on that day. And can you do it day one when you're starting? No. But like, that's the proposition. It's like, they will be able to see what happened during the prep or ceremony for those that were not there, right? And it's like, you can see them like almost light up. And then we say, not only that, but we're gonna give you like a diluted down version of like a quick slideshow, like a day or two after, right? Because they just want to see, they like, like everybody else, whenever you're taking photos of somebody, they just want to see how they look, right? So we also do that. And then you bundle it with the formal slideshow later, and the gallery. And so because the products are bundled, we're like, hey, listen, like a lot of clients come in and I think it's on the next slide. I should probably switch there. Create belief with Epiphany Bridge. So not quite there. Let's wait with the files. I'll explain the idea, but let's go here. So when you're telling this story, like when you're telling them about your approach, this is your packages and pricing, you're really taking them through this Epiphany Bridge. And what that means is, you're basically showing them the why behind why you do it. So the story that makes clients go, oh, that makes sense, right? So it's like, it's not the packages pricing, it's about the why you do it. And you basically tell them a backstory. Like in my case, I would say, listen, we have tried this. Like I constantly tell people about my hours. So we don't specifically list number of hours. And a lot of photographers would argue with me that it's like, well, there should be a limit. It should be an 8 or a 10. Yes, but here's the thing. When I don't want clients to be stressed out, and I don't want to be stressed out. And quite frankly, if I show up an hour earlier, especially in the morning, I will have more to choose from. The client is relaxed. I'm relaxed. Nobody's stressing. The day is dedicated to them anyway. I don't really care about the extra hour. And at the time, like, then I get the question of like, okay, well, when do you leave then, right? And I just tell them, it's like, well, it's usually the same time. And I'm upfront with my clients. I say, listen, you can expect us to be there until like 10 o'clock, because 10:30 everybody usually gets a little tipsy and things get out of control. Well, not really, but like, you know what I mean. And clients, like, you know what's going to happen. People are going to, start drinking, and it's like by 10 o'clock or 10:30, like, we have enough stuff material where we can just pack our gear and go. And it's not like I just pack and leave and nobody knows where we are. We always, talk to the DJ, talk to the client, we let everybody know, and it's like, and they feel super comfortable. So like, in a way, I still have the limit of hours because I tell them what time we're going to leave, and it's up to me depending on the situation and the timeline where I can say, we're going to come in and stay there longer. But in the package, I can say unlimited, unlimited hours, right? Or like all day coverage, and it sounds so much different, all day coverage, even though it's still 8 hours or 10. Then like, no, it's only 8 hours, and then you gotta charge. I'm going to charge in increments. So if you see that you're kind of swaying that way, don't do it, or raise the, include the extra cost. What, ask yourself what it would cost, what it would take for you to like stay for that extra hour, include it in the generic price, and just do that extra hour, because everybody will win. And just control your time on the back end. At least that's my philosophy. So I always would say, hey, we've tested this backstory, right? Why you started shooting. Well, I always tell them why I started shooting, and kind of the lessons that I learned as I was shooting, right? So if there was like, if it was like I would, like the wall I was hitting, what almost made you quit. So it's not quitting, it's we're framing this into like why the package is what it is. So I would always tell them like, okay, we would do the wedding, but like we would deliver the files, but like no product, and the client would not be too happy. And then we like, we delivered the first Canva, and like they were raving. They were basically like a walking billboard just because they hang something on the wall. A lot of people say they would do it, but they don't do it. Probably 99%, which I think we have it on the next slide. But I'm like, oh, that would be annoying. And then a lot of times we were like, there's only like a handful of people seeing preparation in the morning. So we try to do that quick slideshow just to show people some images from the morning at the reception, because they all get to see it, and like all the guests, and they're happy, they're reliving the moment. Like, and to them, it's like, that totally makes sense, right? Same thing with like the slideshow images. I'm like, I don't want you to post like, what happens typically with clients is, other people take photos of their wedding, and like the next day, imagine the client, they get up in the morning and they see their Facebook feed, right, flooded with some just shitty images from their wedding day. We try to avoid that, so we try to give them a preview as soon as possible. This way, they because they're emotionally charged, like they're all excited the wedding just happened, and if they have your photos, like if you worry later that they will not post, like, oh, share with your friends. Let me tell you, you're not going to have to remind them the closer you get with the delivery of little teaser to the wedding day. Because if it's like day one, the 24 hours after, 48 or 72, that emotional thing will start dropping. But like, the closer you can get it to them, the more they will go out there and share the name, the business, who did it. And it's good for you too. So those are the things that we're sharing. Like, here's our backstory. Here's what we did. Here's what didn't work. Here are the walls that we were hitting. And then epiphany, like, what changed your approach, which is exactly why we're explaining what happened, and we're justifying. And then the results, what clients get now. And then I say, this is why you have the package. That's why we don't just sell the package, but like, we sell the experience, because we know later on, we now have clients that, and like right now, even when I'm looking at it, we've been shooting for 17 years. And I got to tell you, a lot of times people say like, well, people don't go and relive their wedding. Well, most people probably don't, but if you cater the package, the solution for them the right way, like, you can tell the client, like, listen, it's like the album. Maybe you're not going to sit at the computer with your files, but you'll definitely go and look at your album at least, Christmas time, or with a, glass of wine or whatever. Like, it's totally different sale, and people just buy in because they understand the justification. And I think here I'm talking about Big Domino and the three secrets. Identify the one belief, keeping clients stuck on price. So this is exactly what I've been saying all along. Digital is not enough, right? I've been mentioning like the files, because think about it, you're a commodity. You come in and they're like, oh, how many photos we're gonna get, right? 500. Like, it's just, nobody wants to pay $6,000 for a USB drive. Like, it's just, whenever I hear it, I feel, even though we include USB drives, and can I show you something? Let me see. So you will see typically, not that we don't sell, like part of the album, part of the solution is the the box. I don't know if you guys can see it, and then we have the album inside and the USB drive, but it's totally different. It's not just some USB stick from Staples. So when they pay, they actually feel that it's tangible. It's different when I show them the album and say 5,000 or six, but it's different when I say here in the little envelope, or like I pull it out of my pocket, like a USB drive, and like give me 6 grand. It's totally different. Plus, when you deliver the experience, like like I meet with my clients in person to deliver the stuff. I rarely ship it out unless I'm geographically limited, but I like to meet with them because it's totally different. It's the handshake, it's the album, it's the canvas or whatever, and like it's this presentation. I got to tell you, when people are, it's like when you get that experience instead of 500 files on a USB stick, people don't have problem paying a higher markup for the product. So digital is not enough. Digital files fade and disappear. Think about how many digital files you have on your computer and how often you actually went back to look. Like you go back and look, but like you probably, the percentage of photos you like look back at, especially now, we keep stuff on our phones or whatever, and like we have files on our computers that we never go back to. And it's different when you have an album. Let me tell you, when you have something tangible, or even better, I always say products in terms of like canvases, something that you can hang on a wall, beats everything, because it's just something we always say we're going to go and do it, and we never do it. Most of us don't do it, right? So clients, same thing, probably 99%, well, maybe 98% of my clients, I noticed that those that we have delivered like files to and albums, even though they say like, yeah, we'll definitely print and put stuff on the wall, they rarely do. But like those that bought the canvas, you walk into the house and you immediately see the product on the wall, right? So and it's in your best interest to push or sell this product, to tell them about the value of how valuable this thing is, because it will hang on a wall. Like it's the very first thing, and it's a reminder not only for them but like anybody that walks through the house can see what it was. So back here, I went through, I think, 2 stages. Digital files fade and disappear. The experience matters more than files, and the physical products preserve legacy. So I think I've said enough on this. You get the idea. So yeah. So when you talk to them, the authority is it's your voice, it's your story, it's why you're doing this. It's very, very important. Knock down the belief blocking the sale, then the price makes sense. So if you tell them a story and it's justified, then they're ready to commit. Because if you simply give them a price sheet that's the same as another price sheet from another photographer, it's like they will just choose cheaper, right? So that's the difference. Also, I pulled this from another presentation that I did about handling objections before they speak is just easier. As the person of authority, as the person that, you're eventually becoming this guide for a photo session, whether it's family, corporate, whether it's weddings, you're becoming the expert, right? So one thing that helps you with this authority building and showing them that you're expert is knowing answers to the questions they may have, right? And they may have internal objections, like we're so awkward in photos. I hate how I look. We don't know what to do. To also include external objections, which is like, well, the budget, the timeline feels rushed, or friend offered to shoot, right? What will be the difference? So it's very important to understand that the earlier you can answer those questions, the better position you're going to be in. And we do it with content, right? So, or websites. So if you go to, it could be an FAQ section on your website, could be Reels, could be Facebook content, could be YouTube videos or YouTube Shorts. If you have Instagram, you can do it with carousels. You can do it with your content, depending on the platform you prioritize. So it's really up to you. Question always is like, which one do you prioritize? I got to tell you, for me, Facebook and YouTube are the places to go. But I know Instagram works phenomenally. TikTok works. It's like, commit to a platform for a year, and you'll definitely see results. It's the worst when you're trying to be omnipresent and you're trying to fill 10 cups all at the same time. It's like, it's hard. That's when it gets hard. That's when you get overwhelmed and overworked. So focus on one. Make sure you understand the platform. Start doing the posts. Then start experimenting with maybe stories. Then start experimenting with reels. Then start experimenting with events. And eventually, there's so much on every single platform that it takes time to kind of not even master, but like to understand it. So make sure that you answer any objections, any questions for your client when they come in. They already feel like you're an expert. So the sale becomes easy because they already know that you know, right? So that's really name of the game. Your brand voice plus consultation should answer these fears early before they become deal breakers. So yeah, consultation is sort of like the last step in the process. They may come in, and when you do your presentation, part of that is when you present prices and your kind of plan on what you're plan on scheduling on doing that day. You can answer questions around that, and that should be an easy sell. Stack the offer. So this is again when you're selling, when you're giving them the offering. Um, Kind of what I said before, like you're already telling them why you've put this sort of offer together for them. But a couple things to remember here: make the price feel obvious by stacking pain and solution. So again, this is this combination of like comfort and direction. You feel awkward, I guide every moment, right? Because that's their concern. They're usually like, hey, we don't do this 24/7. We're never in front of the camera. Like, we wouldn't know what to do. Are you just going to tell us to stand there and smile? Like, no, you have to tell them or show them examples, or just make them feel more comfortable. That's part of your offer, by the way. It's not just photos, right? The next thing, a lot of times brides are overwhelmed with weddings or corporate clients. They don't want to deal with timelines or logistics. A lot of times it's like, stress about the schedule. I plan it for you, or I plan it with you, right? And this way they're like, oh, okay, good. So I'm going to pay and not really have to worry about it. That's what we have to do. Another one is backups and reliability. If they worried about something going wrong, or backups or files, like anything happening to then you tell them about your backup system. It's like, hey, I have a computer, I have a hard drive, external hard drive, I have cloud backup. So that's part of it. And then Albo and wall art want to actually see your photos, physical keepsakes included. So make sure you have something there that's tangible. And I said tangible has to be something printed, a product. Pick one at the beginning because you're going to get overwhelmed. It's really easy to kind of lose focus when you're dealing with offerings of companies. So just make sure you do that, and this becomes your offer. Like, it's not just one thing. It's not just photography. It's not just photos, but it's this whole thing. Not worrying, scheduling, backups, reliability, products, right? Combination. This becomes your offer in the end for the client. And when you present it this way, it's not 500 photos on a USB stick. And then once you explain it, it's really almost hard to say no to. So that is it. And the last thing that I wanted to include is like trial closes and community. So always try to have some sort of like a business page. For us, it's really like YouTube and Facebook. But you can, and when I say Facebook, it's like personal profile page, because you can now be like a digital creator on your personal profile. It used to be like that you had to had separate business page. I have an example here, but as you can see, like 96 likes, 98 followers, right? Like this was the screenshot there. Right now, everything is being done, at least on my end, from my profile, just personal profile. It's dedicated to my professional work, but it's up to you. If you don't want to mix it up, just go with a business page. It's actually kind of nice because before, you were not able to run. If you wanted to run an ad, you couldn't do it from your personal profile. Now you can boost the posts and advertise from your personal profile. Before, you were not able to, and that was one of the reasons why a lot of folks kind of went that way, created business pages, and they still do, and they work. So it's just a preference. But a couple things here that I wanted to flag for you, which I also pulled from other recordings that we already did. Keep them saying yes, then keep them connected. So it's another thing. You're the expert. You lead the conversation. Make sure there's this concept of like silent yeses and silent commitments. So when you run through your presentation, if you tell them about it, just make sure that you have enough questions where you give them an opportunity to say yes. And I'm nodding my head for a reason, because this is what we need. So when clients are sitting with you and talking, it's this subconscious thing that your brain mind does where they're agreeing with you, right? So trial closes, that makes sense, right? And then they, yeah, no, makes sense, right? Well, we have to make sure that you're, stress free on the wedding day, right? And they just keep going, right? Yeah, we got to make sure that we have the backup and everything, and in the end that you're happy with the product, right? And it's like, yeah, as they do it in the end, and it's a cycle, it's human psychology. When you ask the question about committing or signing contracts, or basically you're trying to extract yeses. And I'm not saying during consultations, because we don't sign a lot of contracts during consultations. It's easier for the client than to give you another nod and say yes. So it's very important. Email lists. This is, I know I'm kind of like being random here on this slide, but tips, send out tips twice a month. Stay top of mind before they're ready to book. So it's not uncommon these days to have to stay in like client's world for anywhere between 8 months to like year and a half sometimes, right? Depending on what kind of photography you're shooting, or when budgets become available for corporate clients, or whatever. They go through, it's more bureaucratic paperwork. But even your clients for weddings, or even family sessions, sometimes you schedule, you book a client in winter for like a summer session. So you have to stay in their world, especially when they reach out and don't book on the spot. Then you have to be there. Facebook groups or pages, anything that works for you guys. So I've seen photographers doing different things. They have WhatsApp groups, they have Slack channels, they have Facebook groups, like I mentioned, not Facebook groups, but a business page. And it's just a place it's a social proof, right? That other people work with you. And then some people do blogs. I don't do blogs. We have a few articles. I know it's good for SEO, but right now, we sort of have a mixed feelings about SEO, just because of AI kind of consuming information. But it's not that it's not working. It's working. It's just working not as good as it used to, like everything else, right? Like Facebook ads or anything else. I'm not saying it's not important for us. It's just maybe somewhere lower on our priority list. Articles plus comments, your home base for education and trust, and again, blog for SEO. Google is detecting what you're writing about, seeing if it's relevant. If you're sometimes writing about places where you shoot typically, or your location where you are, geographical, it helps with what they call topology, meaning how this information is structured. So it's really important. Too much of technical details that like I can't go into it right now. But legacy products like albums and canvases live on a wall. They don't get buried in a folder. I already mentioned that. And I hope this was helpful. This is kind of what you have to. We've covered a lot, right, in terms of like building the authority, sounding confident, being okay with who you are, what you're selling, what you're offering in terms of a style. And that was really it that I wanted to share with you guys today. How long did it take us? Almost an hour? I can't believe it took that long. I guess so. 52 minutes. I appreciate you guys joining or watching or rewatching. You know where to find me. This is the QR code. Like I said, you can find the YouTube channel through there, the school community. You can also DM me if you have any questions. Don't hesitate. Reach out. If you're interested, I also have, I'm not going to pull up the link, but I also have the online assessment. You can actually go through the assessment and it will show you, it will kind of score the different areas of business photography. Not your photography. I'm not judging your photography. It's just it will make an assessment based on like where are you with your branding and automation, and maybe you're gonna score low on those, and this will help you to like determine and figure out, oh, here's what I need to focus on. So it's super helpful. That was it for today. Appreciate you. Thank you for paying with your time, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.